society are humiliated yet again. YouTube is hating, the Democrats are fuming, the bisexuals are sinking, and the Black channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely still uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, and the everlasting superfortress of intelligent Black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel, and I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically Black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, look, they've been messing with the program here tonight because they are very, very unhappy. I've got enemies at very high levels because what we are doing for Black people is operating at a very high level. Once again, I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on Cash App or PayPal. And if you really want to do something super fly, share the program. The reason that YouTube cut it off is because YouTube doesn't really share the program much to begin with. And if you go live more than twice in a 24-hour period, then what will happen is you will end up, if it goes live twice, then YouTube doesn't advertise it at all, even to your subscribers. So they're playing dirty little games. That's quite all right. They mad, and we're going to have them get a lot more things to get mad about here on tonight's program. Oh, you Biden butt kissers. You see, you got to understand, here in Intelligent Black Society, the difference between us and those kind of people is that we don't like looking dumb. The folks who supported Obama and Biden and Bill Clinton and Hillary, those folks don't mind looking stupid. Hell, they look stupid at home. They look stupid in front of their children. They look stupid in front of their job. They look stupid at the school. Those folks are used to looking dumb. We're not. That's the difference. We're not accustomed to looking stupid. That's the difference. And that's a brand new life skill for these folks. They're used to looking idiotic, but we're not. So when we warned you about Barack Obama, we didn't just say it because it sounded cute. We said it because that's what you needed to know. That's what you needed to hear. When we warned you about Bill Clinton, that's what you needed to hear. And what's happened is a lot of folks have allowed themselves to fall prey to the gamification of politics is what they've done. Instead of you playing politics, instead of you playing the game, you've allowed the game to play you. One of the ways in which they do that is they sit up here and you start falling for the lesser of two evils. You see, what they fooled you into believing is that if you'll just vote for the other racist over there, then it's like winning a football game, only you're winning it ugly. You know, there's a difference between winning a football game in a clear, concise, dominating fashion and then winning a football game in an ugly, raggedy, worn down, bloody, beaten fashion. And what they've done is they convinced a whole bunch of people that, yeah, well, Donald Trump's a racist, and Joe Biden is too, but he's the less racist. So you'll be winning the game. You're just winning the game ugly. That's what they've convinced people of. We're here to tell you that, you know, that's not a win. That's an L. That's a loss. The Biden supporters, as we pointed out immediately following the election, the Biden supporters are real quiet right now. Y'all know this now for months and months and months. Since the election happened, ain't nobody doing any victory laps. They're not doing any victory laps. They are quiet as field mice out here. They ain't got nothing to say out here. They're supposed to be out here beating their chests. Rolling Butterball Martin. They're supposed to be out here talking about how great things are going. And the rumblings are already starting, and the complaining and the rattling is already beginning. That they're saying, hey, you ain't delivered nothing for black folk. Gays have gotten something. Native Americans got the Keystone Pipeline shut down. Asians are getting benefits left and right. Hell, even non-citizens are getting things. Black folk, nothing. Atlanta, breaking their arm, patting themselves in the back, ski-wee. But now, you were supposed to tell us what was going to get delivered. You were supposed to tell us about the tangibles you were going to be getting. You were supposed to be telling us about when they were going to be delivering the bacon. That's what you were supposed to be giving us. And that didn't occur. And it isn't occurring. And it's not on the way to occurring now. That's the difference. That's the difference. All kinds of things that you were swearing up and down was going to be different, and it's not. And it isn't. So things that we warned you about and whatnot, all the Biden butt kissers, see what you all were really hoping. What it tells you is how absolutely disgustingly deceptive and deceitful the Biden butt kissers and supporters are. Because you all knew what he was when you were voting for him. You knew what he was the whole time. You were willing to play the game. You weren't voting for Black society. You were voting against us. You are Black, but you're voting against Black people. And that's what happened. So what you all were hoping was that Biden wasn't going to do too much. That's what you were hoping for. You were hoping that Biden wasn't going to be too bad. You were hoping that he wasn't going to make it too obvious. You were hoping that he wasn't going to do anything too blatant. Like, hell, he's been doing all kinds of reckless stuff out here. But hopefully he'll tamp it down so that damn new Black media won't be able to come back and shake their fingers in front of our faces and tell us what we did wrong. That's what you all were really hoping. You knew what he was. You know what he is. You were just hoping he wouldn't do anything too blatant or too bad so that you could save face. Well, he sure as hell let you down now, didn't he? For those of you who are unaware, the Daily Mail was able to get their hands on some of those emails. Hunter Biden's laptop, I think it was. They were going through his laptop, emails and stuff, and they were sitting up here and got messages between him and his lawyer by text. Boy, oh boy. Reading from the New York Post, first son Hunter Biden repeatedly called his white attorney the N-word in a pair of bizarre and occasionally lewd text conversations late in 2018 and early 2019, according to newly unearthed messages. In an exchange on December 13, 2018, taken from Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop and first reported by DailyMail.com, the younger Biden asked Chicago-based corporate attorney George Meserez. Now, I've actually got some pictures on here, some screen captures that they have from the text messages. I'll go ahead and blow these up a little bit for you here. He was talking to his attorney, and he says, you can see from the exchanges here. Now, his attorney is the one in the gray on the left. The text and the text balloons in gray on the left. Hunter Biden's messages are the ones in blue on the right. His attorney says there is zero coverage or pickup of the story. Zip. They spent a blank ton of resources on it too for a year. To which Hunter Biden says, wow, thank you, Michael Cohen. So I guess they were talking about Trump or whatever, who knows. And then his attorney sends a fist And he says, oh, and you too. Now, here's what Hunter Biden says to his attorney. These are screen captures of the text messages to his attorney. He says, oh, and you too. How much money do I owe you? Because, nigga, you better not be charging me Hennessy rates.
Fuck.
To which his attorney responds, that made me snarf my coffee. Hunter responds to him, I just made that phrase up, by the way. I guess he means Hennessy rates. I should have had your lineage. I'm not really sure what that means. His attorney is white, or I don't know. Maybe his attorney isn't white. Maybe there's an undercover reason why he's talking like that. For all you Biden supporters, this is your man. This is Hunter Biden. All you Biden supporters who've been saying it doesn't really matter what the text messages said or whatever. All you Biden supporters, go ahead, pull up your chair, get your plate together. I'm giving you a big heaping helping of looking stupid. So go ahead and gobble up. But he says, I should have had your lineage. His attorney says, clever son of a gun. Biden says, it's wasted on you. The attorney says, apparently you do. To which he says, that's what I'm saying, nigga. To which his attorney, he sends his attorney a picture and he says, why? His attorney said, why are you so tan? All you Biden butt kissers, this is your man. Where do you think Hunter Biden learned to talk like this? Where do you think he got that from? This is your man. This is your man. There you go. This is your man. Y'all got a lot of damn explaining to do. Well, Jason, I mean, that's just one set of messages. Oh, no, there's more. Oh, no. No. Oh, you're never going to get off that easy. Oh, there's more. There's more. I know the Biden butt kisses like, oh, damn him. Damn him. Oh, yes. Ain't going to be nothing easy about this for you. Nothing easy about this for you at all. Not at all. Go ahead and blow this up for you here. So here they get into an interesting exchange about unconditional love, and it goes in a bizarre direction. Hunter Biden asks his attorney, where do you find unconditional love, George? To which his attorney says, God loves unconditionally. Bo loves you unconditionally. He's talking about Bo Biden, who is Joe Biden's now deceased son, Hunter Biden's now deceased brother. So he's saying God loves unconditionally. Bo, his deceased brother, loves you unconditionally. Children are too young to understand what it means, but you will show them. They're ideals of unconditional love that serve as proxies. I don't have many. You, God. To which Hunter Biden responds, OMG, nigga, did you just, I guess, use a fictional character from the imagination of the collective frightened, and my dead brother's unconditional love is what I should rely on, and my kids aren't children, George? To which his attorney says, my parents' love was conditioned. To which Hunter Biden says, you can see what Hunter Biden said here. My sex organ, as of late, has been unconditional.
The fuck?
Maybe Hunter Biden's woman needs to be aware, or maybe she's already aware that her man is out here talking to his male attorney out of nowhere to let his male attorney know that his sex organ is unconditional. I'm trying to figure out, y'all, I've hired many attorneys over the decades. I know many attorneys. I have had many conversations with my attorneys. Some of them ventured off into, more personal discussions. By personal, I simply mean it wasn't necessarily business related, just some more casual discussion. Even with my female attorneys, I've had some female attorneys. I've never had a conversation with any of my attorneys that ventured off into me discussing my sex organs with them. Especially whether they're conditional. Remember, he is talking to his male attorney friend. And this is where the discussion goes. And it kind of just makes you think, okay, maybe we are the ones who don't have all the information. Maybe there's some stuff we need to know. Maybe there's some stuff we need to know. As you can see on the screen, but he lets him know my sex organ as of late has been unconditional. To which his attorney says, that's why we're searching. And then Hunter comes back talking about for my organ. To which his attorney says, and we will always be searching. Then now he's talking to this attorney. He just keeps going on and on. Why, it's big, George. They always find it. And I only love you because you're black. All you Biden butt kissers and butt dancers, this is your man. This is your man. Maybe y'all need to come over here and explain this. Y'all need to come over here and explain this. Because I don't know. I've never had this conversation with an attorney before. I've never had this kind of conversation with an attorney, with an accountant. Forget attorneys. With my attorneys, my accountants, my university professor, and the conversation never went this way. It certainly didn't go this way and go on and on. I mean, it's like, dude, you're trying to convince him how big your member is. Why is that so important to you to discuss this, dude? What's the basis? Where are we going with this? And the attorney is just taking it in stride, which means he's had this conversation a few times. This is the President of the United States' son. The President of the United States' son, all you Biden supporters. And by the way, first of all, let me remind you, first thing, for all of you Christians out there, Hunter Biden is directly mocking God. So when he's telling you that God is fictional. So when you see Joe Biden talking about Lent and being a devout Catholic, but then he supports abortion and all these anti-Catholic, anti-Christian practices, take a look at the way his son talks. His son is literally up here telling you that God is a fictional character conjured up by the emotions, by the fear of the collective frightened. So this is your President of the United States who says he's a devout Catholic. This kind of explains a few things. He's a fraud. And all you folk sitting there in your churches and whatnot with Biden, sitting there in your churches with him, all you dumb old niggas, and all you dumb young hood rat hoes, and everybody else out here, the collective bummy, when he comes sitting up in your churches and whatnot, and you sitting up here stamping your feet and playing along, I'm like, you a good Christian man, you Catholic. Okay. All righty then. There it is. Next time he comes to your church, there it is. Just thought I'd take a moment out here to remind you. He goes on, he's talking to his attorney. I'm just like, folks, like I say, this is just way too much even for me. But his attorney says, after he says to his attorney, I only love you because you're black, his attorney says, it's annoying when you interject with frivolity. To which he goes back again. True that, nigga, but I'm done my rant. To which his attorney comes back talking about, we will always be searching. So the attorney's following up on the male genitalia comment from Hunter Biden. So both of these men's female partners, if they are truly female, ladies, you might want to ask a few more questions. I would suggest you perform some more due diligence. Or maybe you already have and you've just decided, oh, well, let's just make it as good as it can be. Just make it as good as you can be. So, Yeah, folks. I mean, look, the apple never falls too far from the tree. All of you lying niggas who was talking about 3 strikes was in the past and that's where he was, but that's not where he's at. Take a look at his son. Take a look at his son. And yes, Donald Trump's son is sitting up there taking a victory lap as well. No, you will not get away with it. Donald Trump's son was sitting there saying that. He jumped right on it. Donald Trump's son jumped right on it. He posted on Twitter and everything. You see, when you allow yourself to be played for a fool, when you become emotionally invested to the point that you no longer care about and no longer regard facts and reality, you don't become fooled by the enemy. In truth, you have become the enemy. Because Black people do not have the luxury of you deciding that you're going to put your personal ego and stupidity above our best interests. You cannot do that. You absolutely cannot do that. We warned the Biden supporters. We warned you all for years now. We warned you what it was. We said what it was. And literally every month, it seems like every other week, something is coming out that's reinforcing and proving us right all over again. So far, it's new Black media, but we've scored, what, 80? If it was a football game, we'd have scored about 80 or 90 points by now. Biden supporters, 0. Haven't hit the scoreboard yet. Not in any danger of hitting it. Every week, you guys take a new body blow. You suffer a new concussion. You get broken in half every time we turn around now. If you all make it to 2024, and in all honesty, it's looking less and less likely, quite frankly, but if by some fluke you actually do end up making it to 2024, have you all thought about how bad a situation that's going to be for you? By the way, have you thought about how bad it's going to be for you? You were hoping that Biden would at least give you a stay of execution long enough so you could at least pretend it was going to go okay. He didn't make it the first 6 months before he exposed you all for the idiots that you are. And quite frankly, this is good. Yes, absolutely. This is good. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it right here, right now. I'm ready for it to happen. We don't need to wait. Let's go ahead and just get right into it in 2021. As soon as he hits the White House, let the rubber hit the road, and let's just go ahead and get to it. Let's just go ahead and get to exactly what it's going to be and where it's going to be and how it's going to go down. Let's just get there right now. I'm perfectly fine with everything falling apart and going to hell right where we are. I'm cool on that. I'm cool on that. Not a problem for me at all. We're going to go ahead and take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, I might see about taking some phone calls from you all, because if you are a Biden supporter, I want to get you all put to the front of the line, all my Biden supporters out there. Is this your man? Can you explain? Can you justify to people how it is that you still support Biden under these circumstances? Can you explain away what his son is doing? Oh, this has nothing to do with the father. This is all just a big old coincidence all over again. Is that what you're going to tell us? It's a coincidence all over again. Every time this kind of stuff keeps happening, it's a coincidence every single time it keeps happening. Doesn't matter if it happens for a year straight, 10 years straight, 30 years straight, 50 years straight. It's a coincidence every time it keeps happening. No, you got some explaining to do here. Before we do that, I'd like to thank everyone who has contributed to tonight's program on either Cash App or PayPal. Dr. Montgomery, sister, thank you very much for your support. As always, I hear you, I see you, and I appreciate you. Thank you very much for that. My man, Howard, Ty Quinn, and Miss Eve, I want to thank you and everyone else who has contributed to tonight's program. Chadwick as well. Thank you very much for your support. When we come back, we'll have more on this from the Black Channel.
Within us is a powerful spirit, a God-given spirit. It's a spirit spirit that empowers us to oppose demonic white supremacy, a spirit that motivates us to eradicate racist lies with Black truth. This spirit was alive during the rebellion of 1811. The spirit catapults us towards righteous justice. This is the spirit our opponents fear. Is the spirit of 1811 alive in you? Visit us at spiritOf1811publishing.com. Buy our novel, War of the Heart, on sale today at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Spirit of 1811 Publishing. Our story, our family.
Are you tired of being overcharged and forced into paying a monthly subscription for your Mac and Windows software? Well, if you are, currently we're having a 50% off discount on all the latest Mac and Windows software, such as AutoCAD, SolidWorks, Photoshop, Microsoft Office, and much more. Our 50% off discount will be ending soon, so be sure to text us Need Software to 818-208-1901. That's 818-208-1901. We aim to please, so expect 24/7 technical support, the latest premium software, instant software links delivered to your email, and PayPal's buyer's protection guarantee.
Hey family, what's up? I'm Master Trainer Simon Pratt. I'm in here to change lives, dies, and glues with my products. With the online training is very, very effective. It's convenient to work out when you're ready on your time. So it'll download to your app. You get 3 to 5 workouts per week tailored for you based off of your body type, your goals, your lifestyle, your experience, and also the equipment that you have. You're going to have the best bands, Solomon's Fitness World bands. He has ankle bands. He has booty bands and power bands. It's going to strengthen, stretch, and change your life. Get your bands, use your bands, SolomonFitnessWorld.com. You the best.
She said she had a big fee. She had a parking ticket to pay off. That was around $300. He said, okay, I'll help you with that a little bit. So he intentionally tried to put in $30, but he fat fingered the hell out of this and put in $3,000 and sent the money off to her by mistake. And when he finally realized what happened, of course, he was messaging her, calling her, no reply. And after about 500 calls later and 10,000 texts later, well, he just realized she was long gone.
This week on Hip Hop Stocks, where we teach you the stock market based on the music we love. Music is up, but this is more of a buy the rumors, sell the news kind of week. Instead of there being a massive amount of great new music to listen to, there are some rumors that it is coming soon, and that is making the NASDAQ bullish. Starting with the return of Simba, Cole, Jermaine. Yes, J. Cole has announced his next album, which will be everywhere on May the 14th. This is a major catalyst for this week's earnings reports. Now, does this mean that we're guaranteed a great album? No. His last bunch of projects were solid concepts, but nothing more.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. Telephone lines are now open. The number is 646-787-1933. That's 646-787-1933. Your personal access code to the Blackest radio program in existence, the only one of its kind on planet Earth today. If you have been instructed to give us a call by one of the mods, you definitely must do that or you'll be removed. Certainly, I want you to go ahead and give us a call here, and especially if you are still a Biden supporter, this is your opportunity to go ahead and give everyone a call now. You got some real explaining to do, is what you're going to have to do here. You're going to have to explain to all of us, well, what's the basis? How are you still able to do that? What exactly is it? You're just going to overlook everything. We're just going to overlook everything right now, and you are more concerned about what is in the interest of Joe Biden and the Democrats than you are about Black society. That's why I warn you all. I warn you all here that there's a reason why I warn you about these old Negroes. There's a reason why I warn you about them. There's a reason why I keep warning you about watching out, because as a group, they have their interests are in conflict with us. As a group, these old folks' interests are in direct conflict against us, because they were the old flunkies and boobs and buffoons who took the bait and fell for the lies. Now they want to write the history that what they did was the correct thing. But we've made so much noise that they can't do that anymore. So what they're now trying to do is figure out a way to silence us for the duration. So don't expect them to do anything except to jump in the way. Don't expect anything other than that. But we're going to go ahead and open up the telephone lines for you all now. Let me go ahead and get caller from area code 570. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. My name is Tyson. I'm calling from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
All right, Tyson from Scranton, Pennsylvania. What's on your mind?
Well, I basically stumbled up on your channel recently, and the reason I called tonight is because to me, it comes to a point where I realize nobody really has the guts to actually come forward and like say the truth. So like I might as well do it, because the truth is always better than a lie. So that's why I'm calling. So basically, in 2020, I ended up voting for Joe Biden. And that's only because there was a time in my life where I was really into politics, and in the end, it consumed my whole thought process. And I don't know, it was a very anxious time for me. And I truly do regret that, because I was in that lesser of the two people mindset, and in the end, it didn't really pay off either way. So
Okay, let me find out here. How old are you exactly?
I am 19.
Okay, you're 19 years old, and you're saying that you voted for Biden last year.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And you did that. Why? Because of a careful analysis of the facts, or just holding up family tradition, or what was it that led you to do that?
My family hates Donald Trump. That's every time he did something, my grandma would say something, my mom would say something, he would always say something. And I hated Trump too, mainly because of the Muslim ban and anything like that. And like to me,
Mainly
it was
because,
like a big
okay, you said that your issue with Trump was because of the Muslim ban. Why would that be an issue for you?
No, it wasn't the main issue, but
I mean, but it's one of the things. But it's one of the things. So I'm asking you, why would that be a problem for you? What dog do you have in that fight?
Because not everyone in a religion are extremists and trying to kill people.
Got it. However, in politics, and here's where black folk seem absolutely irrational and crazy. There's a reason why black people in politics have very few friends, because when you start acting in an irrational manner, other folk are not going to be able to collaborate with you and form a coalition with you when you behave and act in an irrational manner. In politics, you are supposed to promote your personal self-interest first. Should I say by personal, I mean the self-interest of your group. So
Yeah.
what is your personal self-interest in protecting Muslims exactly? What is it?
So, like that wasn't the only reason. It's just like, that's like one of the
Okay, you
things.
said that
Like,
several times
was
now.
always-
I'm asking, but you mentioned that as a specific point. I didn't say that was your only reason. I'm asking specifically about that one. You were the one who mentioned it. That was one of the reasons you did not like Trump. Got that. You don't have to keep repeating it. It's very remedial at this point. I'll try this again.
Okay.
What was your personal interest in, what did you have to do with that? What does that have to do with you that you felt like that was an issue that you needed to take Trump to task for?
Because everyone should be treated with respect, and they should be allowed to believe in whatever they want to believe in.
Right. Okay. Do you
And
realize
no one-
you've been asked the same question several times now, and you're having the same lead pipe response to it? I have asked what you have to do with that. What does that Muslim ban have to do with Tyson? To the point that he feels like he needs to use his vote to protest it. How did the Muslim ban hurt you?
It did not hurt me personally. I just added on to one of the reasons.
No. Say it again. You're mumbling and tongue-tied. What did the Muslim ban have to do with you?
Nothing at all.
So that's the first question: is what in the world were you doing so ventilated and upset and irate about it? It galvanized you, and at the end of the day, it didn't help you when Muslims didn't have a ban. It didn't hurt you when they did, and yet you took it up as a personal cause. Why would you be so personally interested in something that didn't help you when it was there and did not hurt you when it was? Why?
Because I was in the wrong mindset back then, and I didn't apologize for that.
Right, and that's the point I want you all to understand. That's called the gamification of politics. Because understand something. I've been to many Muslim places in this country and around the world. Brother, they don't, nobody's caping for black folk. They only invoke white supremacy against black people when it helps them. In foreign countries, they only talk about it when it's their interest. China is invoking Asian supremacy all over China and now in Africa. But then they want to wag their finger at America and talk about American racism. Well, yeah, they only invoke that when it suits them. Meanwhile, they go off and practice it themselves. And when black folk run around making other people's campaigns, other people's issues our priority, that is expressing a gross malfeasance of judgment, because nobody is stomping for us. When you go up into Minnesota, the Somalis and the Muslim community up there, those Somalis, they don't have nothing to do with us. They don't have a damn thing to do with us. When you, as a black American, you go around them, they treat you like an alien. They make it very, very clear. Oh, we ain't black. We're Africans. You Africans in America. We don't have anything to do with y'all. Whatever's going on with y'all and these white folk in America, that's between y'all and them. We're Somalis. They make it very clear. Your so-called Muslims, brother, none of them have done anything for you. And this isn't about you being inhuman. This is about you saying, wait a minute, you can't get mad at Trump and say he's racist or against black folk and then go defend Muslims who are racist against black folk. There's where the inconsistency comes in. There's where the irrationality comes in. You're supposed to just look at everybody and say, yeah, I'm cool. I'm good. Y'all duke it out, and I'm on the sidelines. I don't have a dog in this fight. I have nothing to lose and nothing to gain. And black folk have been so intellectually bored and politically lazy that we have gone around just following whatever the white media tells us. And we're here to be the saviors and the civil rights activists for everybody. And that's not the way it works. Our issues are paramount. We are the people in the most trouble. And everything else is supposed to go on the back burner until that gets resolved. Until that gets resolved, we don't talk about nothing else. So I'm glad to see at 19, you had a bit of an epiphany. I want you to understand what the problem was. As Black people, brother, we got the biggest problems that they ever got. But we've been fooled into believing that other people are, quote, having it hard too. No, they're not. No, they're not. We didn't choose to come here. Nobody is lynching Muslims. The police are not out there gunning them down. There's never been a Sandra Bland incident against a Muslim. Never been a Terrence Crutcher incident. Never been none of that. So when you allow yourself to be deceived into supporting, being the protector and advocate for other people, that's the problem. We're becoming advocates for other people, and those other people are not being advocates for us. Certainly not in their communities, they're not. There's not a Muslim community in this country you can go to, and you'll be treated like the Muslims treat each other. Not a one. So that's where the fallacy lies. That's where the mistaken error in judgment lies, is in giving other people the same or greater protection and advocacy than you give yourself. And no one, I want you to understand this, 19 years old, nobody's going to respect you as long as they see you behaving in a manner that is contrary to your own interests. When you put someone else's interests ahead of your own, you are telling them that it is okay for them to devalue you. Now, what you think what you're doing by putting their interests ahead of yours is you're demonstrating to them the manner in which you would like to be treated. That, well, I'm going to put your interests ahead of mine, and when I need help, you'll put my interests ahead of yours. And there's where we get the game screwed up. Nobody's going to do that. We have to show them that we are going to put our interests first, and that they are going to have to do something for us in order for us to advocate on their behalf. But we are not going to give them a freebie, because that's what we've been doing. And now you got a situation where everybody treats us the way the white supremacists do. So there's where the issue comes from. Now, in your family, what did your family teach you about Malcolm X, Marcus Garvey, Dr. John Henry Clark? What did your family teach you about that? Since they were so interested in politics, well, what did your family, and they're so against racism, what did your folks teach you about those people?
Nobody taught me that individually. I learned it myself through figuring out how everything happened in the past. And when I realized that, I started to get really angry and upset because we were not being taught in school what actually happened in order full story of certain events. And later on, I found your channel and I found other people's channels that really helped me out and helped me to realize that we are basically going to the slaughter and stuff like that. And that's one of the reasons I'm calling.
Now, I find that, understand something. I want you to know where their errors are. Your parents have deceived you, and your parents have ill-served you, because your parents are just basically being puppets and parrots repeating whatever the political establishment or the corporate media tells them. That's not parenting. Parenting is about teaching your children what's in their best interests, not becoming some black echo chamber of what white liberals tell you, or white conservatives for that matter. We're supposed to be promoting our interests, because that's what will last. As the old saying goes, we have no permanent friends nor permanent enemies, only permanent interests. That's all we have. This idea that we need to make, the white media or whatever happy with us, no, we don't. We need to make ourselves happy with each other. I owe something to you as a black person. I don't owe anything to anybody else. And you owe something to me as a black person. You don't owe anything to anybody else. Anybody else is a charity. And the reason for that is because that's how everybody else operates, and that's how they prosper. Black folk have been told that it is a virtue to do dumb things. They do news stories and everything else. Listen, a black person standing up for black people, the news media savages you. They criticize you. They vilify you. A black person sitting up here selling out black people, undermining black people, preaching weakness while they make the John Lewis documentary. They want to set up the John Lewis Museum. They want to cherry pick one or two sentences from Dr. King and tell you that's the only thing you need to know. So everything that makes us subservient, those people promote. Everything that empowers us, they vilify. And that's what you have to understand, is the real reason why what you're saying, what your parents are saying is wrong. The real reason it's wrong is because this does not promote your interests. And if it did, then other groups would be operating the same way. Those other groups are not doing that. Not now, not ever. It's not the way it works. The only time those other groups do stand up for black folk is when black people make it very clear that we are going to promote our interests first, which is what happened after George Floyd was killed. Black people became unapologetic about saying, no more minorities, people of color coalition. No, it's black lives are in danger, and we're here to promote black lives. When we made it unequivocal what we were there for, clearly setting out the agenda, and we took the streets for it, everybody else respected that. That's the difference. We didn't try to make everybody else comfortable with us. People started joining us when we stopped trying to make them comfortable. When we told them we about to make things damn uncomfortable if the bull crap don't stop, that's when people started joining us. Just remember that, okay?
Yes, sir.
I want you to make sure
Can I say a few other things?
well, you can say one more other thing there, and then we got a lot of phone calls on the line.
Okay. The thing that people say no to, in like 2011, the hate crimes toward black Americans were 72.0%, the highest of any other date that I know of, and that's the FBI basically saying the same thing. So other people trying to say like the Asian pandemic and stuff like that, Asians has the lowest rate towards like hate towards them. Some cases would be like 3.3, 3.1. The highest I saw were 5.5.
Well,
First
of all, what you're saying is that during the Obama years, black people were more attacked and were killed by, anti-black racism than anybody else in the modern era. And that's absolutely true. Now, as far as the Asian thing is concerned, I want you to understand there has been allegedly here an uptick in incidents of crimes targeting Asians, allegedly here. And the reason I say allegedly is because I'm seeing a bunch of things here that are clearly not right. Every time I turn around, it's some mental patient going out and socking an Asian in the eye or something, hitting somebody's grandmama. That's the kind of stuff we're seeing. Black people are not being attacked by random mental patients. What they're doing is they're going to places like San Francisco, New York, places that have large homeless populations, and a lot of the homeless populations are people with mental and emotional disorders. Finding some mentally, emotionally imbalanced individual, and if they go off and so much as slap an Asian, that's categorized as a hate crime. Black people are out here getting gunned down, and the media is not calling that a hate crime. Now, there's the difference. If anybody so much as sniffs at an Asian, snorts at an Asian the wrong way, that now is being called an act of violence. And I literally mean what I'm saying. Literally an act of violence. There was, I did a program here a few weeks ago about a black woman who went to an Asian restaurant and was yelling at them, and they called that an attack. That is what the headlines said. She was arrested. She was perp walked. I think it was up there in New York. They called that an attack. Her yelling at them was called an attack. We got videos of white women yelling at black children, calling them racial slurs. The media has never said a white woman yelling at a black child was a racist attack. Do you understand that? They've never, yelling at black children has never been called. This is how far the media is going for the purposes of attempting to lie and corrupt and distort this situation. The only people we need to be concerned about with quote hate crimes is black people. That's it. There's nobody else being affected. We're the only ones. Also, another thing is when Asians are quote unquote attacked, somebody gets arrested. Black people, nobody's getting arrested. There's the difference. So when we say hate crimes, the difference between us and Asians is if you do something to an Asian, you get arrested, which is the point we've always made. We're not getting equal protection. You do something to an Asian, you can get arrested just for yelling at them. For black folk, I've got videos and stuff about folk pulling guns on black people, shooting at black people. And with DAs talking about, man, no hate crime here. That's the difference. Keep that in mind. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller area code 470. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Fighting out here. We blocking all you shit. Every black person who come in.
Caller area code 562. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay. Folks are calling me from the laundromat and everything else tonight, folks. Just understand, if I drop your call, you will not be back. Caller from area code 804. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Mr. Jason Black. This is Ken from Richmond, Virginia.
Ken from Richmond, Virginia. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that people are like sheepherds, like those sheep. They just walk wherever they say they want to go, and they tell you to go. So I had an auntie come from Detroit. I'm in Virginia. I'm from Detroit. She came from Detroit. She's 68. She's been vaccinated, blah, blah, blah. She's telling me I had to vote for the lesser of two evils. I'm going, lesser of two evils? Well, do you all know the history of Joe Biden? Like, she didn't know. She just said, I just had to vote. And that's all I wanted to say. She was uninformed, and she just wanted to tell me, I just had to vote. That's all I want to say, Mr. Jason Black. Thank you for your channel.
Yeah, one of the things they've done, especially these old Negroes, how old is she?
68. 68.
So in other words, she's just voting to keep herself amused.
Exactly. And I was ashamed, and I was trying to explain to her, do you know his history? She was like, well, and I explained his history. I told her about the crime bills, and I told her how Clinton and Hillary and Barack Obama were all into this. And she was like, well, I need to look into this. Well, now you want to look into it?
Right. What I'm saying is that we're talking about survival, and they're treating this like a game.
Exactly.
They're treating this like a game. She's 68 years old, and as far as she's concerned, these old people, they don't have any real vigor or energy or influence anywhere else. They don't have any power anywhere else. So they're using their votes. They're using their votes like the internet, like racists on the internet use troll. That's what they're doing. All black folk today have resorted to using their votes as a method of trolling the rest of black society. Think about that for a few moments. They're using their vote as a method of trolling. They use their votes to troll Donald Trump. They use their votes to troll young black folk. They just use their votes to troll people now. They ain't trying to build anything. Let's be very, very clear.
Nothing.
They're not actually trying to build anything. That's the problem. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight here, brother. We appreciate it. Let me get caller area code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling?
Hey, how you doing, big brother? This is Brother Elijah calling from Las Vegas by way of Philadelphia, big brother.
What's on your mind?
Brother, if there's an ash chewing from you, I'll take it, big brother. I gotta confess something because I was inspired by the very first caller, believe it or not. And I'm not changing the subject off of tonight's topic. What happened in 2016, I have to confess, I supported and I voted for Donald Trump. What Donald Trump sold me on was that he was going to ban the Muslims and he was going to get the Mexicans out of here because I saw what it was doing to black people. We were not benefiting off of these people being here, and they were practicing the same white racism that the regular white people practice. Also, this was before I discovered the voices of new black media. I didn't know of you.
Well, let me explain to you. Let me explain to you how that works there. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I mean, every once in a while you see one of these black Donald Trump supporters or whatever like that. Here's my real thing about it. I respect Donald Trump's voters. Now, notice I didn't say I like them, but I respect them. For the same reason I respect Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer is an honest white supremacist. I have talked to Richard Spencer. I talked to Jared Taylor. I respect the both of them because at least they're not lying about what their motives are. They're not lying about what they want. I have never been afraid of an honest white supremacist. Donald Trump supporters, I respect Donald Trump supporters for two reasons. Number one, they're usually honest. Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama supporters, they're usually liars. But number two, Donald Trump's people actually got what they voted for. They voted for somebody who would actually deliver what they wanted. You got black folks saying that voting for Biden is going to give us black empowerment. And they're claiming that that's what they want. We're going to vote for Biden because that's going to give us black empowerment. And it never shows up. So the difference is I can respect Donald Trump voters. They actually got what it was they were voting for. The folk in Black society voting for these other folk never got it and yet want us to take them seriously. That's the problem. Thank you very much for giving us a call. Now, let me get a call from area code 901. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Red out of Memphis, Jason Black.
Red out of Memphis? What's up?
And I was waiting on you. I'm sorry about that.
Yes, what's on your mind?
I feel like I'm down here at the ground level. I'm amongst the people. And it's sad, effing sad, how many Joe Biden supporters and Kamala Harris, it's like they are, the ego thing didn't go away with our black women. They still, well, she can't do nothing. Well, why they put her in that position? These same people who saying she can't do nothing for the vice president is saying that they only voted for racist Joe Biden. And I've talked to females from 18 to 28 who say they knew he was a racist, but they complaining that we hard on Kamala Harris. Like, y'all just need to give her a break, lay off of her. But y'all the same people who say y'all only voted for him because of her. Y'all watched his old videos, y'all knew what he was about. But somehow you equated that to being better than Trump. Now y'all seeing Asians getting legislation, executive orders. Man, these immigrants, these Mexicans is coming across the border non-stop. Now the Democrats is mad at Kamala Harris because she went to Guatemala and said, don't come. It's hurting us. The same people who voted for them 93% and 87%. It's hurting us. So what I want to know now is, what is our bargaining chip going into the next damn election since we have no demands? Up in Lansing, Michigan, an Asian dude just shot a six-year-old, tried to smash him in the head with a sledgehammer first, and then shot him from inside the window because guess what, Jason Black? He was getting his bike out the Asian man's yard and got a $10,000 bond for attempted murder. And then his family, the Vietnamese family, bonded him out. And they own a damn Asian restaurant in Lansing, Michigan. Now, we'll pull up to these white drill sergeant houses. We'll go protest when the police kill us. But a damn Asian man just shot a 6-year-old, and we ain't talking about boycotting that damn business. Because, you know, we support the hair salons, the nail salons, the damn liquor stores all in our area. And
well, there shouldn't be discussions. Shouldn't be discussions about, boycotts.
I know.
It shouldn't be discussions about boycotts. Like I said, I mean, folk don't take you seriously until you take situations seriously. But you're certainly correct about the fact that, as black folk, now here's one thing I will say where Kamala Harris is concerned. Just understand, her supporters are at their wits' end. They don't have anything good to say. They don't have a leg to stand on. They know it. And they're just hoping that nobody else is going to realize it and call it out. But just be aware, brother. They've been silent now for months. We've been calling them out nonstop for months. They're embarrassed. There is an agenda. We articulated what it was. They told us they knew better. They've now proved themselves to be dumb, and that's perfectly fine. You know what it is a gut check. It's a gut check. Remember what we've been doing? I've been nonstop and relentless about this. People were after the election. Folks were like, "Well, Jason, how do you know you're right?" And maybe you're just saying all this stuff to save face and whatnot. And I'm like, look, I'm not guessing my way through this. And I'm not saying it to save face. I'm saying it because it's true. And if you don't believe me, take a look at Joe Biden's supporters. Take a look at Boule Martin and the rest of the old black media. If you don't believe me, believe them. They're the ones saying that what we're saying is correct and that we've been gaining ground. So don't believe me. Believe my enemies. Believe them about us gaining ground. But we're doing the right thing. Everybody who's supporting them, it was good for us to have a gut check mid-game. It's good for us to have a gut check just one time. For anybody who was considering backsliding, it was good for us to go ahead and have a check-in and go ahead and see if something else you're going to do is going to work and it blows up in your face. It's very good. Instead of us going 20 years and then sliding back 20 years. I'm actually very okay with what's going on right now. And I said this since the beginning. This is a gut check, and it's good for us to get this out of the way early. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a caller from area code 928. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, he's getting his hair blown out. Let me get a caller from area code 678. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's good, Jason? Kid James from Plainfield, New Jersey.
James
How you
from Plainfield,
doing?
New Jersey. What's on your mind, brother?
Man, hey, man, you're right, bro. Yo, shout out to you. Hey, and this is good, just like you said, man, because fuck Joe Biden, fuck these crack-ass liberals, fuck Jersey, because Jersey just not only filled with Joe Biden supporters, but it's filled with a bunch of fake-ass, bitch-ass liberals talking about divesting, integrating, just fuck them. And, fuck Black Lives Matter, because the woman, the founder of that, bought her a $1.4 million home and try to add some electric fence to it, just because they know they fucked up. So, listen, man, fuck Joe Biden, fuck their supporters, fuck these liberals, whether they black, white, Spanish, fuck these cracker-loving immigrants, just fuck them. And like I said before, man, I'll fight the whole state of New Jersey. Yeah, I might lose, but fuck it, at least I got the heart. And if I even see Joe Biden with his racist ass, man, I'll
be careful. If you ever see Joe Biden, I'm sure that you will let him know that you are not thrilled with everything you've seen. But thank you very much for giving us a call. Like I say, we have to be careful there now. If I see Joe Biden, I'm sure you'll have some choice words for him. Remember, this is my YouTube channel now. I'm sure if he ever sees Joe Biden, he'll have some choice words for him about the way things have been going. Caller from area code 214. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Leo from Dallas. Good night, Jason. Leo
from Dallas. What's up?
Oh, I just called in to say, brother, not only you're on point, but when we talk about having a code of conduct, this is the reason why. And when we talk about having penalties for what these people did, because we're going to have to suffer through this, this is the reason why. This is just despicable and ridiculous that we have to pay for these fools. And that's all I have to say, brother. B1, thank you for everything you do. Good night.
Black First, brother, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call from area code 305. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
TBA, what they do, this is boy One Love out of Alabama, by way of Miami.
One Love out of Alabama, by way of Miami. I was down there at the port of Miami a few weeks ago. Beautiful place. What's on your mind, brother?
Yeah, man. Shout out to you, bro. You always be on it. I just wanted to just touch in on the topic. It's a reason why they hiding under the couch and they don't want to call it in, because that's who you're asking to call it in. It's because, and that's a shout out to you, because you keep putting it in their face. Because they share, the black people who vote for Biden, who support Biden behind the covers, they share the same qualities as the same white supremacists. Got into an argument. It wasn't even an argument. I just had to tell my mama, you listen to whatever white daddy tell you. To the point where they will argue and go against their own people to support these people. And she said, "Are you trying to call me a white supremacist?" I told her, "No, I am calling you a white supremacist." I said, because if you share, you don't listen to what they say, you watch what they do. And if you share the same ideals and the same actions as the white supremacists, then you are a white supremacist. And to hide behind the cloak when you're asking them, hey, if that's what you did, say what you did, and they won't do it, you're sharing those qualities. That's why I share these qualities with you. Like you say, you respect the Trump supporters, Richard Spencer, for what they said, because they out front with it. Now, hey, you have to. I'd rather a supremacist tell me, if I'm sitting somewhere in a club or in a bar and I'm having drinks, I'd rather somebody tell me, hey, get the hell up out of here because we don't like you, than to sit there and buy me drinks. And then when I walk out, they call the police and say, that guy drunk. I just bought him 12 drinks. I know he's drunk. Get it pulled over.
I mean, how am I going to get mad at somebody for repping their hood? How am I going to get mad at that?
Jason, show me a white person that you can pull up as a politician or somebody you're going to vote for black empowerment. Show me the white person that's going to push black empowerment. Show me the black person that's going to go out there and rep for everybody. We can show you a million of those, but you can't show me one white person that's going to go out and do that. So that's where it's at, man. We have to wake up and realize we can't follow.
Have developed a practice of wanting other people to lie to us. Instead of us saying, we don't give a damn if you like us or not. Black folk vote for some popularity contest bull crap. And that's not adulthood. It doesn't matter if these other folk like us or hate us. Our job is to vote for empowerment so that they cannot harm us. That's the point. Call of Mary Code 770. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing, brother? My name is Shadow. I'm calling from Atlanta. I'm from New York.
Shadow from Atlanta, what's on your mind?
Man, a couple of things. You know, I just got fired from my job today. And the reason I got fired is because old country-ass black man came in and he started talking shit to me while I'm at work. And I said, hey, look, bro, I'm over here at work. Stop your bullshit. This man goes out to the parking lot, calls the cops on me. The cops show up. I ain't committed no crime, so the cops ain't do nothing. But my Indian manager fires me. He been already treating me like a nigger, so I ain't mind being fired. But I just realized what these old black folks is doing. They don't want no young black folks to rise because they understand how much they failed during their life and how much they didn't rise, and now they're playing boule society, trying to keep real black kings away from their crown.
Well, when you got nothing to offer, you just spend your life hating. Because if they really wanted to show something, they would go and flex on some white kids. Oh, wait a minute, you can't do that. They're the ones that have them on the run and always have. They be too busy buck dancing and bootlicking and ass kissing over there. So thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get a call from Mary Code 928. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Bruce from Arizona.
Bruce from Arizona. Where at in Arizona?
Parker.
All right, Bruce from Parker, Arizona. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm 69 years old, and I used to be a member of the Black Panther Party, and from that time, you know, I mean, we were doing a lot, and I was a youngster. I mean, I started when I was in the 11th grade, and by the time
let me find here. How old are you again?
69.
Okay, 69 years old. Go ahead.
what I'm about to say is, we need reparations, period. And I know that. I knew that then, and I know it now. You know, all of these people come out and they promise everything but reparations. And that's about all I can say.
But what they really want to see is they really want to see how much we're going to push for that, because they are used, and I told black folk about this the whole time. Black folk over the last 60 years have taught white society that we're not actually going to stand on our demands. We're going to demand things. We're going to vent. And then once they let us finish venting, that we got that out of our system, and then we just go back to doing what we were doing before. We have to show them that we're not venting this time. We are really serious, because we've taught them and conditioned them to believe that we're paper tigers and we won't really stand by what we're saying. That every once in a while we really will say what we really want and we really will insist on it, but that we won't stand on it. And then all they got to do is just stiff arm us long enough, and eventually we'll give up on it, and we'll take whatever compromise they throw at us. And so we're going to have to show them that, nope, this time this is the new way, and we are not going to compromise. That's what will change things.
All right.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get called Mary Code 347. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yo, this is Cam calling from Brooklyn, New York. And I just wanted to say, you spoke earlier about the Asians who, the supposed hate attacks towards the Asians. And I'm living right in an area of Brooklyn where I could tell you for a fact that the people who are doing these things to Asians and even to the Jews, these are mental patients. These are not people who are getting up in the morning and making targeted attacks. They're just crazy people. What the mayor has done is he's set up homeless shelters in every neighborhood.
Correct.
So now we're just seeing more homeless people, crazy people.
Oh,
and
not just that.
The amount of crime.
Wait, not just that now. Under de Blasio, I'm very glad that you mentioned this, because folks in New York know what the damn deal is. Now, that's the difference. Folks in New York know what the damn deal is, but the rest of the country doesn't. So what they don't know is that, like in New York, for example, and if you all are aware of this, is that especially for those homeless shelters and whatnot, they've basically been turning an exorbitant amount of folk back out in the streets is what they've been doing. So they've basically been letting a bunch of them just roaming around is what's happening. So you're starting to see that pile up again in New York. For a little while, they had it under control. Now you're starting to see the homeless folk piling up again. And in particular, because like I said, I've been there a bunch of times, so I know, like, for example, for the one fellow who had done at that time, he hit the little old lady out there in the street corner one night and was just standing there. He hit her and was just standing there after he did. Very clearly, this is one of them dudes with issues. And once they arrested him, it's like, he's been arrested a dozen times before. He's very well known to law enforcement. Well, yeah, because the last 12 times he hit some black folk because he's black. So that's the real issue of it. These are not desperate criminals. These are not racial activists. These are not ethnic nativists. These are mental patients. By and large, this is all of them. These are mental patients just running around. What needs to be investigated, and what they would do if this were honest, is they would sit them down and in a proper interrogation ask them, what set you off this time? Why did you go and do this? This seems to be different from the last 10 attacks you did. Why did you do this one? And then get some answers. But problem.
100% correct.
The police got a hold of them.
100% correct.
And all of a sudden, there's the other thing. The police get a hold of them. And what happens is when these Asians get attacked, it's either by some mental patient or somebody that we never see again. Like, for example, the guys with the pink lounge singer outfits. A bunch of dudes wearing pink running around socking Asians and whatnot. And nobody's called them and nobody's seen them again. So either never catch them and never see them again, or it's a mental patient who never leaves the scene of the crime. But yes, this is
very correct.
Problem. This has been a problem for a while, because in New York, y'all know full damn well, New York is no stranger to racial or ethnic attacks. It's usually against black folk. New York is no stranger to that. You all know when you're seeing a genuine, authentic racial attack, and when it's just, oh, this is one of the crazy folk we got here. This guy would be pushing somebody off.
Oh, 100%.
This same guy would be pushing somebody off a subway ramp somewhere.
That's 100% correct. And the other thing is that my son is 14 years old and he has the Citizens app. And they've been telling us for a number of years that crime is down. It's not as bad as it used to be. But he got on this app about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and crime is just popping. I mean, it is just, it's a lot. And I don't know if they're just not reporting these things or they're underreporting these things. But the amount of, like, people getting assaulted, women getting groped, rapes, robberies, things like that, it's pretty high in comparison to what they're telling us.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's just the other point I wanted to bring up.
And this is a tactic by the police. You know, this is a tactic by the police. It's a tactic by City Hall, and the purposes of this are to cultivate crime to spike so suddenly and so dramatically that what's intended next is to get the public scrambling to give the police autocratic powers to do whatever they want to do. That's the point of it.
Good point.
That's the
Very
whole
good
reason.
point.
That's the whole reason for this. And it's not just in New York. It's in New York, Atlanta, Los Angeles, but the 4 major places you're seeing it happen, 5 major places you're seeing happen right now is New York, DC, Atlanta, Detroit, Chicago. Those are the 5 major places you're seeing it happen. You're seeing upticks in other places, you know, Seattle, things like that. But the whole purpose of that is to, and let's be very, very clear, police can knock down crime wherever they want to. If crime goes up, it's because the police allow it. And if crime goes down, it's because the police are doing their jobs. And that's the way it works. So when you see crime take this spike like this, especially with as incredibly knowledgeable, skilled, and equipped, because the New York Police Department is the most, I mean, they literally are the 4th or 5th largest standing army in the world. Literally. The New York Police Department is literally the 4th or 5th largest standing army in the world. Go look it up for yourselves. They literally have an intelligence division in Israel. Literally. The New York Police Department is one of the few places that they literally have a foreign intelligence division. Think that over for just a few moments. Not the CIA, not the federal government, the New York Police Department literally has a foreign intelligence division. So when you consider how incredibly resourceful they are, just understand that they got a foreign intelligence division. They damn sure know who took the wallet. They damn sure know who did that. So in a situation like that, just understand they are able to control crime. Crime is, and you all know that, if crime is allowed to happen, because New York is a big place, but it's not unmanageable. A lot of folk have the idea that New York is just a big zoo and it's unmanageable. It's crowded as hell, sure, but it's not unmanageable. It really, really isn't. And with that being the case, you know, if crime starts spiking, you all know full damn well there's someone behind, not something, but someone behind it, especially for it to happen this quickly. So the first thing I want to start looking at is hope, like the fellow who hit that Asian lady. He gets let out of jail. Next thing you know, off he goes to go sock somebody up. These crimes you're all seeing, folks out here shooting at each other in the middle of the damn streets. New York, which supposedly has some of the strictest gun laws in America. And suddenly in 2021, we see this huge spike in specifically gun crimes, specifically shootouts in the street have specifically spiked in New York. Now, the dumb question would be, well, you know, if you weren't talking about defund the police, wait, hold on a second. These are felons with guns. And all of a sudden, in one of the most controlled gun geographic regions in America, everybody's strapped. The felons all of a sudden, they got strapped again, brother. You how old are you?
I'm 46.
Okay, you and I are both old enough to know about this part here. Dude, you and I both remember in the late 80s and the 90s when the police was throwing guns out there on the streets like that. That's what happened in New York. That's what happened in Los Angeles. Niggas wasn't just getting their hands on guns. They were dropping guns off. You were finding guns all over the damn place. And now in 2021, you see this sudden spike in gun crimes in New York, because at first it was just in the Bronx. Now you're seeing it happen everywhere, to the point they're having shootouts in Brooklyn. They're having shootouts in Harlem. How did this happen just all of a sudden? You and I both know what the hell is happening. We know what's occurring because we've seen this before.
I think in most cases, the average person in New York City wouldn't even know how to get their hands on a gun. It's so regulated. There has to be something else on it.
Exactly, especially if you're a felon and whatnot. I mean, it's not. Trust me, I've been in New York many a time. It doesn't have. I'm from Louisiana. It does not have a gun culture. You don't have a bunch of people who just know how to hook you up with that. That's not the way it works up there. So if they've got if there's this much armament floating around New York this quickly, there's only one organization in New York that has this many guns, can distribute them on the quick streets this quickly, directly to the hands of people most likely to use them. Now, who in the world has the guns, knows the streets, can distribute them to individuals, and by the way, the guns keep ending up in the hands of folk who keep using them. Now, there's only one organization in New York I know of that has a history of doing that kind of thing and actually has the expertise to pull it off. Just one.
The NYPD. The NYPD.
And next thing you know, Pat Lynch and Bill Bratton is out there. I think he went back to Los Angeles. Bill Bratton's out there.
He's done.
You told us you wanted to defund the police. Take a look at what crime is done. You should just keep running over your rights. So just understand, you and I have seen this movie before, and this is what the police do on purpose. We've seen this before. You and I saw this in the late 80s and the 90s and whatnot. We saw it in LA. We saw it in DC. We saw it in New Orleans. We saw it in New York. We've seen it in Chicago. We saw it in Detroit. This is a scheme that they keep doing. And so as soon as next thing you know, here comes Rudy Giuliani and let me lock up every nigga I see. All of a sudden, overnight, we scooped up all the guns again. Well, yeah, of course you scooped them up because you know who you gave them to. So of course you went to go scoop them. Once the job is done, when the tool, remember white supremacy, when they're done with their tools, they go break them. Once the job is done, okay, give this nigga a 20-year sentence. Oh, take a look, we found this gun, give him a life sentence. Okay, he got the gun, he's gone off and clipped 2 or 3 people. All right, give him a life if he's still alive. By the way, if he's still alive, because in many cases they end up dead. So you gave him the gun, and I was watching, there was a video clip somewhere, one of the TV stations in New York, and like these 5 guys were standing around like in front of it was either a bodega or a deli or something. These 5 dudes are standing around. Next thing you know, they get into it and just pull out their guns and start shooting at each other point blank range. So I'm talking about 3 dudes. 3 dudes. I mean, there's like 5 or 6 of them standing around. You all can go look at the clip on YouTube if you want to. There's 3 or 6 dudes, about 6 dudes standing around, and 3 of them they start arguing, and 3 of them just immediately start pulling out their guns and start shooting at each other at point blank range. So when they give them the guns, they go out and you give them the people who are most likely to use them, and assuming they don't end up dead, because if he does end up dead, we can put him in the morgue and retrieve the gun and either give it to somebody else or dispose of it. There won't be a trial. He's dead. Now we'll dispose of it, rinse and repeat. Or if he is alive, here's your life sentence, nigga. And the gun is back in our custody and probably going to find its way back out onto the street. Rinse and repeat. And this, you and I both know that's what we're looking at. Homeless folk being
100%.
Homeless people being sent out to attack people, and the police not investigating the trigger. No mental health therapist being brought in to hold a press conference to say, I spoke to him today about why this triggered him. What was it that triggered him? And what did one of these guys ever tell you? Well, there was a guy who came and talked to me, and he was telling me about how the Asians be messing up and this, that, and the other. Oh, who was this guy? I don't know. He was at the homeless shelter. I'd never seen him before. Oh, really? Now, you and I both know we were saying we heard that. Yeah, he came to the homeless shelter. I don't know. I've never really seen him, but what he said made sense. I'm sure anything would make sense to you. Ice cream cones on a lobster's back would make sense to you. So, sounds very familiar. I'll let you have the last word.
You made so many good points. I mean, we're 100% correct with everything you just said, and I just wanted to leave it by saying that it's definitely not just Asians who have been the victim of a lot of these assaults. It's all different types of people, and particularly women. Like I get very nervous when my wife and my daughter, go on the train or go down the street these days. It's happening to everybody, not just Asians.
Oh, that's the point, brother. Like I say, I mean, in New York is, and I covered this in my film Gentrified. New York is a city, and this was a tactic that was used. Now, generally, the way it works is you let the crime cycle go on for 10 years. And generally speaking, the crime cycle will serve a purpose. And the purpose that the crime cycle solves, it supplies, is that it will allow you to run the property values down. It allows you to clear out the neighborhood. You can either arrest everybody or evict everybody. And then, some developer comes through, buys up everything, and then we put the plan into place. But it generally takes usually around 10 years for that to happen. Now, that will not occur in Manhattan. Manhattan has all, with the exception of Harlem, Spanish Harlem. By the way, where the shooting's happening, Harlem, Spanish Harlem, Washington Heights. That's where you see it.
Yep.
That's where you see it. I know my New York, but Harlem, Washington Heights, and whatnot. So you're starting to see when you Fort Lee, when you start seeing all that mess happen, where it's isolated at now, because it's like that's the last bit of unfinished business, because they already took care of, Hell's Kitchen, Chelsea, Tribeca. We already took care of all that. Mm-hmm. Now the last thing left is the top of the icicle. Manhattan is shaped, for the folk who don't live in New York, Manhattan is shaped like an icicle. The top of the icicle is where Harlem and Washington Heights and all that up there is. That's the only thing that really hasn't been dealt with yet, but we know what the plan is there. Mm-hmm. And now you're seeing this spread over into Brooklyn. They've already started building that out over there. So it's not a bunch of cheap property left. Crime is something that happens where the cheap property is. You living in New York, you understand, I've told them about this before. You go down to Madison Avenue and then over to Fifth Avenue and whatnot, 34th Street for the Macy's and things. Those are all big, huge business districts. Those are not residential areas. That's why the guy who hit the little old lady in Times Square, it's like, wait a minute, this was Times Square. Where's he going to run? This is a business. It's not like he can leave there and then go into the house. It doesn't work like that. You're Times Square, man. What, you going to run 3-4 blocks? It doesn't work that way. So you're not going to, those are areas that have already experienced what they wanted. They turn them into a business place, a place of commerce. So now that's all it's going to do. It's the residential areas where they want to clear those out, and allowing crime to spike is what gives you the ability and the wherewithal to do that. So then you start getting city planners in place, and they start making all kinds of plans. Since you can't do it under the rationale of commerce, you will instead do it under the rationale of safer neighborhoods. So we need to redo this area of town so we can, quote, make it safer. Remember, it's like terrorism. Oh, there's a crisis. We got to deal with the crisis now. So you have to let us invoke extreme measures to deal with the crisis. You don't want folk getting shot and shoved off subways and all this stuff here now. So let us go ahead and do what we got to do to deal with that. So that's the reason for allowing this to spike. And I'm just letting y'all know right now, yes, you are correct to be concerned and whatnot, because they are going to allow this to go on for the purposes of making it inhospitable for some of you. They'll provide protection to the ones they want to, but for everybody else, you'll be left at risk in that way. So just keep your eyes and your ears open. This is going to be part of an ongoing campaign. I wish I could tell you this would be easily gone, but it will not be. You are up against an enemy that is incredibly well funded and resourced. Of course, they would be. It's your tax dollars at work, and they want to finish the job. They've almost got everything they want. They got Manhattan taken care of. So all of y'all who live in Brooklyn and whatnot. And we were seeing the spike in crime happen in the Bronx first, because the Bronx has been wilding out now for a couple of years. Remember, I told you a 10-year cycle. The Bronx has been wilding out now for a couple of years compared to everything else. So in Manhattan, you're talking about Billionaires Row. And meanwhile, the Bronx is looking like Boot Hill over there. So, and New Yorkers are kind of, I know a lot of y'all are perplexed because you're like, well, I'll be damned. We just made a Billionaires Row in Manhattan and Brooklyn's getting built out. So why is it with all this gentrification, we're seeing the Bronx acting the way it is? Well, I know why it's acting that way. It is because this is basically the bargain that's been struck between these entities, the city, the investors and whatnot, that basically we're going to let those property values in the Bronx get as low as they can, because nobody wants to overpay for anything. Let the crime go out of control, bring the prices down so we can find out what the rock bottom really is. And then once we determine what that is, everybody's going to leave either because of crime. They're either going to leave. We're going to arrest them all, and then we're going to put a plan in place. Remember what they did with Queens, Long Island City.
Oh, like Long Island City,
When they
over
did,
that way.
yeah, I keep remembering it was Queens in Long Island City when they were going to bring through Amazon. Take a look at how quickly they were going to take 20, 30 square blocks. Look how quickly they showed you. Oh, you think we can move? You think government in New York moves slowly? Y'all are just used to government in New York doing nothing. Well, man, it'll take forever for that. When Amazon said they wanted headquarters, government moved pretty damn fast. Now, didn't they? To go ahead and show you what they could do with all kinds of land. Ain't that amazing? Y'all have never seen government move that fast. We rebuilt New Orleans before they rebuilt the World Trade Tower. The government never moved that fast before until Amazon showed up. Then all of a sudden they showed you, oh, we can move at lightning speed over dozens of blocks. Well, you're like, well, I'll be damned. If you did that for black folk, we'd be the richest people in the world. And they're like, yeah, and that's why we ain't did it.
Yep. So it's true. Classes in session tonight. There's a lot of good stuff.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get caller from code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, man, my name is Will. I'm calling from Decatur, Georgia.
Will from Decatur, Georgia. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir, man. I had to chime in about these old niggas because I'm 28 years old. And due to my age, this is my first time. 2020 is my first time actually being able to observe an election from like a mature standpoint. So I keep saying all these old niggas like, oh, we gotta get Trump out of there. I'm asking them, why? What's the difference between Trump and Biden? No, baby, we just gotta get him out. I'm like, okay, man, that don't make any sense.
Why? Yeah, we gotta get rid of. Well, you think about it, we gotta get rid of Trump. Okay, why? Maybe we just got to get him out. Wait a minute, hold on. They'll be like, sir, you got to give me $100. Why? You just got to give me $100. Wait a minute, that's not an answer. I asked you a question. Think about that for just a few moments.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the narrative that was going on in the community. Like, well, we're old niggas anyway. But that's all I had to say, man. Keep doing what you're doing. Be one.
Black First Brother, thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. We just got to do it. I ain't got to do a damn thing but stay black, be empowered, and keep breathing. Call from here, code 415. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yeah, what's going on, TBA? My name is Brian. I'm calling out of the Bay Area, San Francisco, California.
Brian from the Bay. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I had something going on with my job. Job gave me an ultimatum. They said, and I'm gonna make a connection. They said, take the vaccination, keep your job, or don't take the vaccination and keep your job. So I did a little bit of research, and I found a legal document to say that taking the vaccination goes against my religious beliefs. So I typed up the COVID-19 exemption letter, and I thought to myself, well, if I get some clergy to sign my document, maybe it would give my document more power. So I went around to different churches, talked to some pastors, went to some mosques, tried to talk to some imams. They all went trying to sign my document. These was old niggas, right? So I thought to myself, I see what's going on because, when you a sheep, you know what I mean? Sheep get led by shepherds. When you don't lead yourself, somebody's gonna lead you.
Well, you all don't have to do those
things.
You don't have to do those things. Like I say, they can't force you to get vaccinations as a condition of your job. Some of them are going to try to threaten you all and scare you, but let's be very, very clear. If somebody did that, they face litigation. So in reality, they can't really force that kind of thing. Now, there are some, maybe the medical profession, but do you work in the medical profession?
No, I don't. I do like security for like a shelter.
Yeah.
For the homeless.
They've been. Look, I mean, folks, when they have an opportunity to try to exercise power, they're going to try to do that. But I don't want you all to be scared about that kind of thing because in reality, they really can't. Now, certain things like there are certain places that can refuse to allow you in. The cruise ships are doing that now, and they can do that because they actually are under maritime law. But no, as far as these jobs and stuff, I know a lot of them are out here trying to do that mess, but I don't want you all to fall for that. I really don't want you all to have to fall for that. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get called from area code 562. You're on live with Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey Jason, what's up? It's Ryan calling on Long Beach, and I was just trying to call in because they've been talking a lot about this critical race theory, and I know it's about exposing all the white supremacy that's been happening in America, but what is the theory part? It sounds like a gateway to throw in all this transgender LGBTQ alphabet stuff.
No. It's because it's not a theory, but it was the way in which it was worded for the purposes of passing it. And here's the real issue. What I don't like about this quote critical race theory thing is, look, as black folk, we need to get to a point where it's just straight up the middle. This ain't no damn theory. This is policy. Everybody else has their group's best interests ingrained in government as government policy. Now, that's the part I'm saying. Let's get past the bull job. No, we don't need to be talking about critical race theory. Protecting black people's interests needs to be government policy. Teaching American history and everything that happened needs to be government policy. Exposing white supremacy needs to be government policy. After World War II, exposing the Nazis and anti-Semitism was government policy. Hollywood policy, public policy, civic policy, corporate policy. Where black folk is going to be renamed, intellectualized, taken in a different direction in here, and critical race theory, no, it just needs to be dismantling white supremacy and black empowerment is policy. That's what it needs to be. We need to have it at that level. Just like after George Floyd got killed, we didn't use a bunch of trick words or whatnot. We just came straight down the middle. We just came straight down the middle. But this was in our interest. Exposing white supremacy, they call it critical race theory. No, this is American history. And teaching history should be the policy. And there shouldn't be any apologizing about it, equivocating about it, intellectualizing about it, and mincing words over it. No, let's just get straight to it. This is policy. And that's what I'm on. So the only issue I have about the critical race theory thing is I'm like, okay, I understand what you're doing, but we're not going to have real power until we start discussing this as what it is or what it should be. Policy. Remove this critical race theory label and let's just get to the policy, making it what it should be. Policy. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. The Asians don't have a critical race theory. They have Asian American policy etched in government now. Caller from area code 315. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Syracuse.
Okay. You're on speakerphone or something. You have 2 seconds to take it off of speakerphone, whoever you are, so you can be heard.
Hi, Christian. I apologize for that. Can you hear me clearly now?
What is your name? Where are you calling from?
Jerome, Syracuse, New York.
Jerome from Syracuse. What's on your mind?
A lot of things. I'll try to keep it as focused as I can. I'm a 55-year-old black man, and I sometimes feel that I have not done as much as I can for my race. Being a dark-skinned black man, a lot of people don't take it seriously. Let me get off the bat. What I want to know is, in Syracuse, I've only been here 2 years. I want to know politically what I can do locally to advance the black empowerment in Syracuse.
Okay, well, first of all, the first thing that you can do is make sure that you have a unified ideology. What black people are lacking everywhere is a solid agenda and a solidified agenda. That's the problem. Right now, what's been happening for the last 60 years is the agenda has been integration. Black folk didn't come up with that idea. That was given to us by white folk to say, well, what you should really Chase, is to integrate yourself into the society. Become more like us, prove to us that you're harmless, and then you can be integrated in, you'll be treated like we treat ourselves. And then we found out that was a red herring. What we're supposed to be chasing is empowerment. And how do we spell empowerment? Well, I can tell you how you measure it. You measure it in dollars. That's how we measure empowerment. That's how we measure whether or not it's working. And if the dollars ain't growing, then it's obviously not working because the dollars help make you self-determined. And you would go from there. So we need to find other black folk who are on the same page with you. And then you all need to have resources because you're not going to be able to get anything done if all of you are broke. So you're either going to need a lot of people on the same page or a lot of people on the same page regardless of resources, or a few people on the same page who actually have some resources. Because if it's 4 or 5 broke dudes sitting around talking, you ain't going to get anything done. You're just going to sit there and philosophize and, converse, but you're not going to get anything done. So if you want to get something done, that's the way you do it.
And the first step, once that's done, is determined on what we're all compiled together, is the first thing to do, I guess, is to try to influence the political structure, political structure.
As Dr. Claude Anderson said, politicians don't run anything. Politicians, with society is a 5-level building, economics is the ground floor, politics is the second floor. Politicians don't have any power. They respond to the economic floor beneath them. Black folk have been trying to get politics accomplished with no resources, and that's not the way it works. So what you end up with are politicians brought to you by the dominant society, individuals brought to you, candidates brought to you by the dominant society. And if the dominant society chose them, it is because they serve the dominant society's purposes, not yours. And that's the vicious cycle that we've been in now for 100 years, that we keep mostly getting people that we choose, particularly the last 50 years. We've been getting a nonstop parade of individuals that we've been voting for, but we didn't choose. You can't choose somebody with no resources. And that's the part that needs to get fixed. The message can't get out there without resources. Amber Geiger is doing a 10-year bid now because I put up the resources to put the word up in Dallas about what she did. So if you want to, it's my pleasure and my duty to the people. But if you want to see things change, somebody's got to stop bull jiving around and start getting the resources together. Like the earlier caller said, you got Asians out here killing folk, and then their families put up the money. Peter Liang, same thing. The Asians didn't come with their philosophy; they came with their money. So as Black folk, if we're really serious, we got to stop the bull jive and get to saying, okay, we have an agenda, and you're going to need resources to power that agenda, either to advertise or to choose candidates and make moves. But at the end of the day, once you have your agenda together, what's going to power the agenda? Now you got to have the resources. And that's the way it works everywhere. That's the way it works everywhere. I'm not inventing something right now. That's the way it works.
Right. Jason, you want, man. Thank you for everything. You were profound. Thank you very much.
Well, first, we're going to get you some resources together and get that to get a 9-volt battery for that smoke detector back there for you, brother. Thank you very much for giving us a call here tonight. First set of resources we can get together for you is that smoke detector. We're going to get that knocked out. Let me get call from area code 614. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from? Okay, caller from 614 has been abducted. Caller from area code 323. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hello, what's going on, Joe? This is Steve from Compton, calling out of Dallas.
Steve from Compton, what's on your mind?
2 quick things. One, the first thing I wanted to piggyback on what you were talking about as far as the police instigating the violence in the neighborhood. Back in '93, right after the riot, the gangs made a peace treaty across the city. It was really getting quiet and making real progression. And a lot of people who listening from LA know this. There's a train track going down Imperial Highway along the 105. And it was this locomotive came, and there was about 3 carts that they just left. And they sat there for about 3 days. And it was, somebody decided to finally go look inside and what was in it, and it was full of guns. And it is no coincidence, right after that, the gang violence picked right back up going into 93, 94. It's a LA Times article in 93 about the whole situation. So
no, brother,
there's
always things like that, like the 18-wheeler with the shoes left in Chicago, like the pallet of bricks, left in Cleveland after Tamir Rice was killed. We keep name for me a white area in America where you just found an 18-wheeler full of shoes, an 18-wheeler full of guns, an 18-wheeler full of bricks, just an 18-wheeler just left somewhere, a tractor trailer left somewhere with a bunch of stuff just sitting in it. Just tell me the last time you on a random corner in Berkeley, in Beverly Hills, you know, in the white folks area of town. I've never seen that in the Asian part of town. Just one left somewhere with all this stuff. Somebody show me where that's ever happened, because I can't think of it.
No, they are, especially LAPD. They always, like I tell everybody, there's 3 gangs. There's Bloods, the Crips, and the Los Angeles PD. So they always been the instigators as far as the violence in certain areas in the city. So,
brother,
but the second thing I wanted to say is, go
ahead and finish your point, and I want to get back to the LAPD.
Oh no, just the second thing about the bisexuals. You know, since the election, I've been having conversations with different black people about, you know, why they voted for Biden, and it's 2 things. One is just strictly fear. It's we just need to get Trump out. It don't matter. Like you talking to the caller before. He said, I don't know. We just need to get him out, which is making no sense. And then the second thing was, you kind of alluded to it earlier, was that it's a popularity contest. Like, black folks approach, you know, voting like the Apollo. Like, whoever is getting the most likes or whoever is being seen the most or making them laugh, telling jokes, that's the person that we're going to sit there and make our stamp for, instead of the person going out there giving real life tangibles to black people. We always approach it to like a popularity contest.
Yeah, that's the gamification of politics. When they get you to stop thinking of it as a serious decision to determine what is in your best interest to affect your life in the real world, and turn it into an intellectual exercise or an amusement that is there just for recreation. That's the real problem. About the LAPD, though, and let me tell you, like I said, as you know, I've been in Los Angeles before, and I've had a lot of interactions with a lot of police departments. I have. None of them good. But Los Angeles Police Department, brother, I gotta tell you, I have never seen a police department before that has more of a cliquish attitude to it. The LA Police Department is not. It is different than anything else I've seen. It's not. In most police departments, they have a culture of the city. The Los Angeles Police Department has a culture of its own. It identifies itself as outside of the city. It really is a clique. It really is a clique dynamic to it. It's a clique culture. They go everywhere either in pairs or groups. It is very rare, not at all, that you see one LAPD officer by himself. They go in groups. They go in pairs. They go as teams. They don't go as individuals. I remember down there off of Wilshire, downtown. And if y'all are familiar with downtown, you know where the Wilshire Grand is. Across the street over there, where there's a shopping mall across the street. There's Denny's. There's diagonally across the street. There's Denny's and 7-Eleven. But if you go straight down Wilshire, there I believe there's like a nightclub. It's an open air club down there, and then next to that is this taco place. For those of you who live downtown, you know what I'm talking about. But it's right there off Wilshire, next block away from the Korean Air Building, and right across the street from 7-Eleven is a taco place. And I just remember going there, and I had seen something that I don't normally see. There was like 3 LAPD police officers there, all of them Latinos, at this place eating tacos and whatnot. And I was just thinking to myself, you know, I've never really seen that in Louisiana. I've never really seen a group of police officers get together and go do something like that. And then I realized everywhere I went in Los Angeles, they're never by themselves. There are a group of them. So it would be, if you want to know why it is that integrating the LAPD will never work for black folk, It is because in order to get in, you have to be a member of the clique. You got to be a member of the team. You get indoctrinated.
Yeah, you got to go through initiation and everything.
You are something else. You're not a citizen anymore. I don't even think you're defined as a person anymore. You are LAPD now, with all the privileges and authority and benefits that it bestows. And with that type of mindset going on to it, yeah, we can kill folk all over the place. I mean, it's expected of you. So when you all say that word, it's like a gang. People don't understand that you really do mean that literally. And not the way that we mean it in the South. The LAPD is really, really cliquish in a way that I've never seen. I say most of the police departments, but I've never seen one that defined itself in its daily practice. It defines itself by this group movement, this group mentality. I would damn near call it a cult in some ways, but it really defines itself that way. That you're not a real police officer unless you see yourself as something other than a citizen. You're not a real police officer. And if you ain't a real police officer, if you did happen to sneak your way through, they're going to get you the hell out of there, which is what they're going to do. So I'm just saying, for those of you in Los Angeles, and I've been there all around the country, and I've seen a lot of things, but I will say LAPD it's not the West Coast version of New York. No, it's not. New York's police department is like a mob, is what New York's police department is like. It's like a bunch of underworld figures, if I can just be totally honest. LAPD's is more like, it's like a gang. It's like the Locos. It's like MS-13. Name whatever you want to. It is like an organized syndicate, is what it is. It really is. And when you think about it that way, at that point right there, I mean, I know what you all know. You can't put anything past the LAPD. You can't put anything past them. You can't put anything at all.
On the street.
Dude, I mean, if guns start popping up, you would be that's why folks in Los Angeles look at you crazy. All the police wouldn't do that. It's like, dude, you don't, folk who ain't from there don't need to even speak on it. You don't know what you're talking about. A police department wouldn't do that. This is the LAPD we talk about. Yes, they would. Yes, they would. The only police department I think we ever seen, the whole damn division got indicted. Yes, and that was just the one that.
Yeah, you got Rampart.
Oh, that's just one.
And they was operating for about almost 10 years.
Yeah, that's just one, because y'all know
extortion to robbery, everything.
And that's just one.
Murder, murder for hire.
And that's just one. And there's a bunch of cops who have been indicted and everything else since then, but that's just one. That was just the one that the Fed stepped in on. That's just one. This is standard operating procedure. You don't have a Ramparts as a anomaly. You got that's you don't. It doesn't be an anomaly going on that long to put in that much work. That's not an anomaly. This is the LAPD, and you all take that seriously. Understand that. So when guns start popping up and folks start getting killed and whatnot, it's like, of course, we all know about the gangs, the Vikings, and everything else that's operating within, the LAPD. But when you tell me that a truckload of guns showing up and ain't got nothing to do with it, are you serious? Please. Thank you very much for your call tonight. That's the way they do things out there. Let me get caller for area code 415. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Okay, caller from 415 is not paying attention. Caller area code 561. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, man, it's Hank from Palm Beach. How you doing, Jason?
Hank from Palm Beach, what's on your mind?
Yeah, man, listen, man, I'm a pure product of what's wrong when you're dealing with these old niggas, man. Since I was a jitterbug, man, like everything I did, I listened to them. I did everything they told me to do. You know what I mean? I went to school, you know what I mean? Stayed out of trouble. I did all that shit, man. You know what I mean? Like, even when I had my own ideas of what I should do and the directions I should take with my life. You know what I mean? They'll say, nah, don't do that. Why would you do that? Do this. Listen to your elders. fatherly leadership and that type of stuff. And I would always ask them, I'd be like, but if that's what you did, and look where you are, why can't I just, go off on my own and try my own stuff? And even if I, slip and fall or make a mistake along the way, that's fine. I feel better making that choice. They'd be like, no, just follow and listen to what we tell you to do. You know what I mean? Because that's just what you're supposed to do. And I did. They hit me with the Bible verses and all that type of stuff. But even me, I always go deep. I'd be like, well, even the Bible say that at some point, God bless the child that holds his own. So at some point, he got to make his own decision and stand on his one. And they'd be like, well, that's not what it really means. You just have, they twist it to their narrative. So, you know what I mean? So, because they was afraid that they know that you're telling the truth. You know what I mean? But they'd rather just see you follow the same path that they follow because they know if you strike off on your own, it's kind of like you did your own thing. Because deep down inside, they're haters. You know what I'm
Well, you asked a very good question. What you just asked was a very good question. And I hope that everybody remembers that. Because you really asked the question that matters most. You asked about performance. And that's important. If you're going to take somebody's advice, if you're going to listen to somebody's mentorship, here's where we get it wrong. Other groups of people don't listen to somebody unless he's proven that he's a winner, unless he's proven that he's right, unless he's got victories for battles under his belt. That's how he gets respect. That's how he gets listened to. In Black society, we listen to niggas, hoes, deadbeats, bums, homeless, drug addicts. We listen to people who ain't won a damn thing, don't have a single victory under their belts, haven't accomplished anything, no wars won, and yet he's sitting here at the front of the pack, running his gums and talking. That's the difference that we have. We don't have winners that we listen to. We listen to your old drunk uncle. We listen to your old hoard out mammy. We listen to people who they're trying to give you political advice, haven't accomplished a single one of their political objectives using their strategy. Well, just keep your head low and vote for the lesser of the two evils. Okay, all this voting for the lesser of the two evils has won what exactly? That is your strategy. Okay, fine. What have you won through your strategy of, quote, the lesser of the two evils? You haven't won a damn thing. So it's like, okay, well, why should I listen to you when you have no wins? You need to start winning before I listen to you. You need to start winning.
Right. They do shit like, well, I mean, just put your trust in God and go with the choice I went with. But I used to tell them all the time, I'd be like, or better yet, when we were doing the election time, I'd be like, there's power in saying no. If you don't like the song, you don't have to dance. If you don't like Trump's song, you don't like Biden's song, there's power in saying no. I'm gonna hold my vote until something is on the table for me.
But that's a foreign language.
I'm a level with you.
No, you got to understand.
I'm a level.
Power is a foreign language to the weak. Just your disposition, your energy you're giving off, that's a foreign language to the weak. If they are weak, man, this is something that they're used to. They can't
stand me.
They're not used to having power. This is a foreign language.
You're right. And they can't stand me for it, Jason. They can't stand me for it.
Well, I understand they can't stand you. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Let me get called up to Code 404. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where you calling from?
What's going on, Jason? It's Leroy from Atlanta.
Leroy from Atlanta. What's on your mind?
Let's build on what the last guy just said. His power in saying no. Man, I've never voted. I'm 48. Because I realize it's a game. I haven't seen one politician down with us. Here locally in Atlanta, we got Kasim Reed back on the ballot again to run for mayor.
We're going to talk about that.
Shit for us.
We're gonna talk about that on tomorrow night's program. We are going to talk about that. If you go take a look at my Twitter, I posted it within minutes of him at his damn birthday party. I posted it within minutes. Talk about the Kwame Kilpatrick of the South. I posted that within minutes. Within minutes, I posted that. And yeah, I mean, here we go again. This is what I mean. I was telling you all. Remember, I said this before. Kasim was the one who kicked off the gentrification and the overdrive. That was Kasim. And focusing on it's identifying the city as an LGBT haven as opposed to a black empowerment haven. Remember what I told you all. I mean, brother, look here. There's a reason they call us the black media, because we tell you what's going to happen before it ever happens there. And if you all remember what I told you is they're going to get Keisha Bottom B out of office because they have already decided who it is that they want to replace her. And they want her to make it clear now so she can clear the way so that they can put in the person that they want. And lo and be damned, hold. Who in the world shows up but crazy Kasim himself talking about he wants to be mayor again? Now, brother, if that is not the very definition of the establishment putting in one of their hand-picked establishment puppets back up in the office again, if this doesn't prove what I said was correct, I don't know what will.
Man, we got a bunch of token ass niggas who think they running shit, but they only running shit for our enemy. Straight up enemy. And they glad to do it. I'm gonna save my view for tomorrow, man.
Well, thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Please do give us a call again. We're going to talk about that on tomorrow night's program. We're going to talk about what's going on in Atlanta. Because remember, I was talking about Buckhead here. I got my eye on Atlanta. I'm trying to keep my finger as much on the pulse of what's happening as I can. I warned you all of what was going to be occurring here. And yes, you all remember that I said that Kasim Reed was going to be the last black mayor of Atlanta. Well, you got Keisha in there and whatnot, but then you got Kasim rolling back here again. So it looks like I may wind up being correct about that. Keep that in mind. Caller from area code 714. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This Will calling from Orange County in West Visitor, California.
Will from Orange County. What's on your mind?
Yeah, nothing much. I wanted to update you as far as how it is in the environment, because I'm in the enclave in Little Saigon. So it's I don't know, it's looking kind of weird, bro. It's like crazy out here. So I'm noticing a lot of things that I'm just noticing a lot of community efforts with the apps, with the neighborhood apps and all that stuff. You know, there's a lot of people are reporting stuff that ain't true and, tracking people. So I'm just putting that out there.
Okay, well, thank you very much for giving us a call. Caller from area code 646. You're on live with the Black Channel. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Tanya from the Bronx.
Tanya from the Bronx. What's on your mind?
I think we're sleeping on this critical race theory. First of all, where did this name come from? It came from the white media. That I think this is a new agenda to quiet us down. Then including, so now what's happening is when you talk about Black history or anything to do with any truth, the white supremacists are saying, well, this is critical race theory, they don't want to have anything to do with it. And then all these states are jumping on it. I think it's Orwellian, and they're weaponizing this to shut us down.
Well, I mean, they're always going to be doing that. The real thing is, I'm only interested in our agenda. Our agenda doesn't need a new label. It doesn't need to be repackaged. It doesn't need to be rebranded. It doesn't need to be remarketed. We just need to insist that it is going to be this or nothing. And that is all. So that's where I stand on the critical race thing there. We don't need to repackage or rebrand. Black empowerment is the mission. Black empowerment is the brand. And we just need to keep it there. We don't need anybody else to try to rebrand it for us. Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Definitely, brothers and sisters from around the world here. All the Biden butt kissers, you all are looking pretty bad right now. You were warned to try not to look so stupid, but you fell for the bait. So there you are. There you are. This is your loss. You are responsible for this. But you're used to losing and you're used to looking dumb. So that just doesn't bother you. But just understand, you got to hold this L. You got to hold this now. And you're going to hold this one and the next one and the next one and the one after that, because this is not going to be the end. Oh, this is not going to be the end at all. You cannot breathe a sigh of relief. You can't sit here and be like, well, let's just lay low for a little bit and let the heat die down. The heat ain't never going to die down. This is just one among many. This is just the latest incident among many. And it's just the latest in an ongoing series. There will be others. There will be more. You will look worse. You will look dumber. It's going to be a hell of a 4 years as you are shown for the idiots and flunkies and gullible dupes that you always were and still are. And we will be here mocking you every step of the way. And when re-election does come up, or whatever happens there, we will be there to show you how you were wrong the entire time and that there's no reason to listen to you for anything. The worst thing that happened wasn't Donald Trump winning. The worst thing that happened for you all was him losing, because now you have the burden of performance and you have failed. If you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend, over 123,000 subscribers and rising. We are not a little thing. If you are new here, I'd like to thank you and welcome you for joining us. Click that red subscribe button and click that yellow notification bell. Even though YouTube does have us under a shadow ban, that means that they do not recommend us or suggest us to people. They attempt to bury the channel. So what do? Everyone who listens here, it's important that you share it. You're getting insight and analysis you will receive nowhere else. It changes the landscape. Just ask Kamala Harris whether or not we are effective. Ask Bakari Sellers. Ask Monique Presley. Ask Roland Martin if we are relevant. Go ask them if we are a problem. They'll tell you that we are. So if you want to be a part of that, make sure that you have joined us here. Click that red subscribe button, because it's good to be able to show people we got support from over 100,000 people documented, many more thousands of that undocumented, because we're in an undocumented era, correct? So definitely make sure you do that. And if you haven't seen our groundbreaking, best-selling documentary work, take a trip over to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, and go check out our films. 7 a.m., Gentrified and Race War, available on Amazon, on DVD, and more. Go to blackchannelfilms.com to see that. That's blackchannelfilms.com. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, Black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.